Yo guys, what is going on? Insanity coming back at you today. Welcome to my first video of the week where we're going to be speaking a little bit about a particular name piece that a lot of you out there think is just not worth your time grinding, picking up, or even wearing. And I'm talking about the NinjaBike backpack. This thing was meant for the dark zone. It's meant to go ahead and try and keep an additional piece private whenever you get dropped in the dark zone. But there could be so much more potential to this particular piece. What would I change? How would I make it better for you? Let's go ahead and dive right into it. Let's go. Alright, so the NinjaBike Messenger bag seems to be one of the most hated named gear pieces that was added into the game because it really doesn't feel like it adds any value to your build or your character as a whole, and that's because all it really does is drop one fewer public items and lose 20% less XP when killed in the dark zone. That's fine. I use it all the time. I use it on my build each and every single day because I want Massive to see that people want to use this particular piece more often than not, because you have an opportunity here to change it. Instead of saying one fewer public items, how about changing it so you can make it so that you're able to select that one item in your inventory in your extracted bag to stay private. So say you get that ridiculous name piece that you've been looking for, or a particular item that you've been grinding for quite some time. Someone comes up behind you, ganks you, you drop it, and you don't see it again for another 6 months, because that's kind of the traditional way things have been going for a lot of people, which is why they don't really like the dark zone all that much. But if you have this particular bag and you're able to go into your extracted items, you're going to be able to pick that one item, save it as a private item. So even if you get ganked and you get dropped, you're going to be able to go back, pick it up, and still have an opportunity to extract it so that you're able to keep that one piece that you want more than anything else in your entire bag. I think that's going to be a really great way to go ahead and try and change this piece. The other thing that needs to be changed, and this goes for all name pieces, is we need to be able to have some sort of a currency that could actually be used for this. Because when you try and have 2 or 3 of the same name pieces in your inventory, and you're like, all right, this is really starting to take up space in my regular inventory or in my stash, I don't need 4 or 5 of the same thing, and you try to go and sell it and you don't get a single credit for it. This is when a community auction house could really come in handy, because we can, instead of selling it to an actual vendor, there's a lot of people out there who want these name pieces that still can't get anything to drop for themselves. So create a community shop where you're able to go ahead and say, hey, I have a NinjaBike Messenger bag. It's got 2140 armor. It's got, you know, an additional 940 armor on top of that, and 53% ammo capacity as a stamina roll. I think that's great. I think that's worth a decent amount of credits. You can set a value to it. You'll get a notification when someone wants to buy it. You can accept it or deny it, and it instantly updates your currency, and the item is sold to that person. It would be really similar to the way we already share items in the dark zone checkpoints anyway. Why not have something similar to that? I think it would be a great way to go ahead and try and make it so that all these name pieces that are starting to stack up in your inventory and in your stash, you can finally let them go. You may not necessarily need them, because if you only have 4 characters, you only need 4, possibly 4 of each particular item anyway, unless you're trying to have a stamina, electronics, and firearms build. Last but not least, how can you make this particular piece worthy of running around with in the dark zone? I'm going to go ahead and compare this backpack for a second, similar to the Banshee set. When you're not rogue, you have an opportunity to not lose any dark zone funds or any XP when you get knocked down, which is a pretty huge deal. It's a great way to try and level up in the dark zone when you're trying to get from a low level to a high level. And why not have it select an option to have one of those 2 items part of your NinjaBike Messenger bag? Do you want to lose funds, or do you want to lose XP? Save one of those items, lock them in place on that messenger bag, so when you're running and traversing the dark zone, you have an opportunity to say, hey, you know what? I really don't care about my XP level in the dark zone, but I really do care about those dark zone funds, because sometimes trying to grind for DZ funds isn't always the funnest thing to do. But yeah, I think this would be a great way to completely overhaul this particular name piece, and more people would actually start using it. I've been using it ever since I got one, like the first week 1.5 launched, and it's been a heck of a lot of fun using this piece to better my build. Yes, I know a lot of people always yell at me saying, why aren't I using a specialized backpack? But I use it because I want to use an all-name build, and it's a great way for Massive to see that people want to use all-name sets, just better certain pieces to make it a much better all-around build. Anyways, guys, like if you haven't, sub if you're new, and sound off in the comments down below if you agree or disagree with me on how I would change the NinjaBike Messenger bag for the better, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.